Hello, world and universe. Welcome to the Trevor Donald Experience. Manifest your truth. I'm primarily doing this storyline today for Facebook, but for those who do follow me or who are new to the channel, please check out the Trevor Donald Experience on YouTube. But I wanted to do a little PSA today, and I was shocked. What made me want to do this video, I was shocked to see on Highway 70 2 days ago that there were highway patrol, or what you call state troopers, on Highway 70 in the city. You know, the guys with the big hats, the white cars, the state troopers. And I thought that was a pleasant surprise. And they actually had some people pulled over. Anybody that lives in St. Louis knows that Highway 70 from downtown St. Louis going westbound all the way to past 170 to the airport is like the Indianapolis 500 or the Daytona 500. You're talking about reckless driving. You're talking about no plates on the cars. You're talking about expired temp tags. You're talking about reckless driving. Cars are basically used as a weapon. No insurance. Just a reckless abandonment or an abandoning of crazy driving on Highway 70. It's probably the most dangerous highway in the city. And because there's no city patrol, you don't see any city police officers patrolling or canvassing Highway 70 from downtown to the airport. So it was nice to see, and Highway Patrol actually had people pulled over. I think if there's a budget deficit for the city police department, they could make $1 million pulling people over on Highway 70 for all kinds of illegal aggressions, so to speak. As I said, anybody that drives in the city, they know exactly what I'm talking about. Nobody talks about it. More should be said. We do know there's an understaffing of our police department. I think the city needs about 500 police officers. It's an underappreciated, understaffed, and underpaid profession. There has been issues. It makes you wonder when you see in the highway patrol in the city. You know, there's been issues on whether the state, Governor Kehoe and his folks, were going to take over the St. Louis City Police Department like they've done in Kansas City. Something needs to be done. You don't see any of our St. Louis City police officers pulling people over for traffic stops, running red lights, running stop signs. Something needs to be done. As I said, now you're seeing cars being used basically as weapons. People are committing accidents and hitting people and taking off. There's no retribution or repercussions behind any of this illegal driving and craziness that's going on. Nationally, we're talking about illegal immigration, but here locally in our city, we need to talk about all this illegal crazy driving from U.S.-born citizens. And is this issue with the police still possibly taking over? The state possibly taking over St. Louis City Police Department. But yeah, 2 days ago I saw state troopers, highway patrol in the city of St. Louis on Highway 70 pulling people over. Thank God. And you know, some of this understaffing of police is due to Black Lives Matter, people wanting to defund the police. Of course, when all of that took place, the police went from in the 80s and 90s and early 2000s of over-policing, stopping people for driving while black, to now they do nothing. I haven't seen any police officer pulling anybody over for a traffic ticket in several years. And this whole thing about policing ourselves in the community, if you decide to be a vigilante and take matters into your own hands and you end up harming somebody that you think harmed you, you will go to jail. Even though Missouri is an open carry state, There's still laws that have to be abided. I don't believe that we should be policing our own communities. I think that we need to have legitimate, trustworthy police officers, well trained, to police the entire St. Louis area, north and south. Uh, Criminals are not afraid of the police in today's time, let alone are they afraid of non-prevention, de-escalating community leaders. That is a fallacy. Um, so I wanted to bring up some of these topics and see where we're going. Is St. Louis headed in the wrong place? And the irony and the dichotomy in this stuff that I'm talking about on Highway 70, they're trying to legislate, and this is where you have to make your local politicians accountable. They're trying to legislate to increase the speed limit on our highways. So if Highway 70, if the speed limit, if it's up to 65, now they're trying to increase it to 70. Highways that have a speed limit up to 70, they're going to go to 75. So the level of craziness is even going to get bigger. So we need to watch our politicians and legislators. As I said, remember, the state, Governor Kehoe, they are trying to take over the police department in St. Louis City. How would that affect you? Of course, Mayor Kara Spencer is against it. Then also they're trying to increase this speed limit. So we need more police on Highway 70. They need to write more tickets. If there's a deficit in the departments, you could raise $1 million by pulling these people over with all these kind of illegalities that are taking place on Highway 70. It is tremendously bad. We need to check. Kara Spencer talked about when she ran for mayor against ex-mayor Tashara Jones that she was going to cover and fill up the potholes. The potholes have not been filled. North of Kings Highway, all the way south Kings Highway, Grand, north to south, Page, east to west, their potholes are everywhere. Where is Mayor Kara Spencer doing with the potholes? Those things need to be fully addressed, and she said she was going to take care of it. Haven't seen anything done. There has to be accountability there. The gun violence, the murder rate in North City, in Bayton, in South City, in Dutchtown, leading even all the way up to North County, which of course that would be for the county executive to handle, but that's still our St. Louis surrounding area. Assaults, gun violence, murders, property damage, car theft on the south side is at an all-time high. Those things need to be addressed, and we need to have our aldermanic people, our mayor, who holds the governance over our entire city, needs to be done about it. The homelessness, the opioid crisis, those things need to be addressed. Elliot Davis has a Facebook TV program that he does on a daily basis, and he does an outstanding job. For those, you all need to follow that. The homeless situation, the opioid crisis, helplessness is at an all-time high. Our local politicians and our city hall need to do something about that. The sheriff's department is a debacle at this particular time. The St. Louis City Justice Center and its problems with multiple deaths, assaults, understaffing. You have sales that won't lock. So you're not only talking about there's an issue for the safety of the inmates or the people that are the detainees, but there's also an issue for safety for the correctional officers and the staff that work there, whether it's medical staff, correctional officers, etc. Those things need to be addressed. This all has something to do with our humanity and us living in a positive and righteous, God-fearing way. Our St. Louis public schools, multiple superintendents, money mismanagement, conflicts of interest. We've had 3 superintendents in 2 years. Something needs to be done about it. We have 9th grade in our high schools. We have our 9th grade children are reading on a 4th and 5th grade level in many of our schools. The level of learning disabilities in many of our schools is at an all-time high. And what you're seeing is there is a definite association where you're seeing, and you're having in our high schools where kids are averaging an ACT score of 13. Many of these kids have no desire to go to college, trade school, and what you're seeing is from high school, there is a pipeline straight to prison with these kinds of reading scores, test scores, not having a fervence for wanting to learn and do something positive and productive. There are way too many kids that are falling behind academically, their math scores, their reading scores, and what does that end result? That's not an end result to graduate from high school and go to college. It's an end result to graduate from high school and go to prison or doing something negative and self-destructive. There's way too much of this going on, and we need to hold our local politicians accountable. You're having I'm seeing two kinds of black leadership in our politics today. You either have the kind that is kissing up to their white counterparts and agreeing with everything that is going on, or you're having our black politicians who are over exuberant with being too ghetto and being not believable and making a lot of noise and not getting a lot done. We need some educated folks right down that middle that can get some things done and make St. Louis a better place. We have this situation with dilapidated vacant buildings in North City. Pre-tornado of May 17th or 15th, and when it was, Turner Middle, Ashland Middle, these schools all are vacant. It's a sore eye. They talk about Chirac in Chicago with violence and murder and homeless and the opioid crisis, but we have our own Chirac in North St. Louis with the way it looks. And then after the tornado, the vacancy rate was already high with many dilapidated buildings, and then now the tornado has made it even worse. And so we have our own version of Middle Eastern looking like disaster. Things need to be done there. North City is looking like a war zone. And where is the money? FEMA has done some things, but where is the money that Mayor Kara Spencer and this allocated money from the Ram settlement and all this other stuff, this $100 million from the governor? When is it being distributed for the people in North St. Louis? There is something like 67% of the people in North St. Louis who were uninsured, did not have homeowners insurance, and need help. Where is that money going, and when is it being allocated? Kara Spencer does a lot of Mayor Kara Spencer does a lot of word salad, speaks very fast, but we need things to get done. So I'm doing a PSA to see how many people will like, share, and follow. And we need to hold our politicians accountable for what they should be doing and have not done in St. Louis, Missouri.